Hey guys, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has the tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, and more. And trust me guys, it works. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And the best of all, it is totally free. Yes, totally free. So download the Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hey guys, welcome back to the Broke Boy Podcast. How's everyone's morning doing today? If it sounds a little bit noisy, I am currently in Panera. Yes, this time I actually decided to change my location because sometimes you always gotta just, change your location. So if you hear a lot of background noise, I am sorry, but I mean it. I am so sorry. But again, how's everyone's morning? My morning started off well. Got woken up around 6ish, I think. And to my surprise, it is starting to get dark out there really early now. Granted, I am in Central Time, so any listeners are on Mountain Time, I'm sorry if the time doesn't correlate with you guys. We're an hour ahead of you. But I think it's starting to get dark. Maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock. Maybe 8:30. One of the two. Central Time, again, by the way. And before, it used to get dark at 9:30. And then it was starting to be 8:30. I think it's starting to become 8. It's just crazy. And then in the mornings, I remember it used to start getting bright around 6:30. Now it's starting to get, maybe 6ish, close to 6:30. Now it wasn't starting to get noticeably bright until 8 o'clock now, which is crazy because I was just so used to, just a lot of daylight, but we're starting to lose that now, which is fun. And to this morning as well, it was rainy. It's a cloudy day. It was raining, and today is also the Huskers game against Oklahoma, I believe. And I don't know if you guys remember, but the whole tragedy of Scott Frost getting fired was kind of a shocker, but a lot of people wanted it to happen. And once they lost to Georgia Southern, that kind of was the final click of the AD that decided to fire him. And so now they're getting coached by the first African American coach ever in Nebraska history. I think his name's Mikey. I don't remember. So let's see how they do today against Oklahoma, because Oklahoma's one of those teams that are not to be messed with because they're good, and yeah, tee. But again, how's everyone's morning? And I was just gonna be honest right now. I mean, just have a lot of things going on. Guess a lot of fear, and I guess a lot of guilt maybe, but I think just more fear. And so because of a lot of that, and my girlfriend and I talking about it 2 nights ago, very coincidentally, right now I'm currently reading a book called I'm about to promote my own podcast, called Rich Dad Poor Dad. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of that. I have seen it before. I've heard a lot of people talk about it before, and so I decided to do it. I decided to buy it and listen to it, read it. And honestly, I can understand why. It's starting to change my thinking a little bit, and when my girlfriend and I, like I said, talked about fear and whatnot 2 nights ago, next night, legit, that next night, the chapter that I was reading was talking about fear and greed. I'm like, holy shit. I'm not saying it's coincidental, but it's pretty coincidental. And so I decided to hit up one of the leadership coaches from a few nights ago that goes by the name of Ed Nix. I decided to get in contact with him. I was able to email him. I was able to get his phone number. And when, unfortunately, he declined to be on the podcast, reason being, and he likes more of a live audience rather than speaking to a microphone, which I told him, totally understand. I am not gonna, I'm not gonna be mad about that because, that'd be pretty dumb to be mad respecting someone's, just what someone would want to do. And but he did agree to do a little coffee meetup, and I said, okay, that's fine. I mean, I'll do it. I drink coffee, but I make it at home. But I'm not gonna go purchase a coffee. I'll just just get some water, which I did. And so we met up at the Scooters on O Street. There's 3 Scooters on O Street, but it was on the one that's pretty near Hy-Vee / US Cellular. So I decided to meet him there, and I actually felt taller than someone for the first time, which is nice. But the conversation that we had was very much needed for me. And I'm also thinking of talking with someone else that goes by the name of Arla Meyer. Yeah, yes, name dropping, but not in a bad way. She's a broker at Nebraska Realty. I think broker manager at Nebraska Realty. The brokerage that I'm gonna sign up for once I get my real estate license, and very helpful people. And so I want to talk to her on her side of things when it comes to fear and stress and a bunch of other stuff like that. But that's not who I'm talking about right now. It was Ed Nix. And so first he just wanted me to introduce myself, which I did. Just told him what's up about everything, the simple same old type of stuff when you first meet someone. But then while we were talking, I started to get to know him. He's from Chicago, so he knows about when it comes to the hardships of money, of fear, of a bunch of other stuff. And I mean, guy told me that he hasn't been in the back of a cop car in the past 35 years. He hasn't been able to be doing drugs or alcohol in the past 35 years. This boy's been through some shit, and he's a tough motherfucker for it. And so when I was just giving him my life story of where I come from and whatnot, and he was telling me that he's glad to see me get motivated by something, so to make me push forward and not get pushed back. Because I told him how, what the fuck? Before I continue, there's 2 cars that are exactly alike. Different color, but exactly alike. Both Kia Souls. That's amazing. But sorry for getting off topic. When we were talking, I just explained everything, and he was just looking at me about how I need to stick to that of being tough. I need to be pushing forward. I need not to be comparing to anyone. And then he asked me about what my career is, what are my career plans. And so I told him how not only do I want to be in podcasting, have podcasting as one of my careers, but also have be in the real estate business, especially more importantly, being a real estate agent. Why being a real estate agent specifically? on what he asked, and I told him, like, I want to get in the real estate business. Obviously, I want to learn. I want to know how real estate works, but I need to. Like I don't have all this money and whatever that I can just start investing right away and learn the hard way. I want to know how to be in the real estate business from, I guess you can say, like from a salesperson's perspective, because as a salesperson, yeah, you can be like, I mean, you'll have to know a lot of the financial stuff and whatnot, and just kind of be pretty well educated in that type of field. And that's what I hope to be, is pretty well educated, but also what I want to do is, because I mean, I'll just say outright, I mean, obviously I have some financial struggles. I mean, never really learned how to work with my money, never really learned anything on that, and I don't have anyone else to blame other than myself. But I was never really taught true financial education, because they don't teach that in school, obviously. And so that's why I'm reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, because again, it's making me think differently. Well, hopefully it starts to make me think differently, and seeing the future scares me, and that's where I was bringing up fear a lot with him, because I don't want to be homeless. I don't want to be having no car, like no assets. And that's what the book was talking about, was talk about assets and liability. And I want to have assets. I want to have investments. I want to have real estate. I want to have this. I want to have that. But I can't have that unless I change myself and start changing my mindset, especially when it comes to financially. And so, we were talking, and he told me how him and his brother made a pact on to never be poor again. And he talked about, not how specifically on how to never be poor, but because of his entrepreneurial side, he learned how to never be poor. He learned how to think differently, and that's what I'm hoping to be doing too. Because I don't want to my bad. I don't want to be, an adult, maybe even like parent, and still not know how financial literacy, I think is what it's mainly called, how that works. I want to know. I want to be successful while also having that. And that's what the book talks about. I was talking to him about that, and he was telling me how the motivators that I have is a great way to not get there. However, I need to act on it, because if I don't act on it, I'm gonna be stuck in the rat race. I'm gonna be in there, and I don't want to be stuck in that rat race. I don't want to be doing, working and living from paycheck to paycheck and still struggle to pay any debts or anything that I have. Like, I don't want to be doing that. And so, with like having the podcast and being a real estate agent, working with a lot of those agents, a lot of the brokers who most likely are good being fine with their financial literacy, but learning from them, and not only from them, but learning from the very successful people. That's why I started reading the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, because a lot of successful people that I look up to have all read that. Hell, the owner of the Briley team, Adam Briley, he even said he reads it. Ed Nick says he reads it. He read it. He told me he read like the goddamn Bible, and he created a $3 million company. Adam Briley has created a very big team with very high sales. I don't know the specific numbers, but very high sales, and that amazes me, because a lot of those people read the book, and a lot of those people believe in faith. Obviously the belief, faith, a bunch of other stuff. And that's also what he was talking to me about, how in order to be very successful in life, I have to be loving myself spiritually, taking care of myself physically, and loving and taking care of myself mentally. Like those three things, you work on those three things and you master those three things, you're on your way to be very successful. And on the book of Rich Dad Poor Dad, it also talks about that too, but it also talks about, you know, being well educated in financial literacy and being good at it, because there's a difference of keep hearing it, knowing about it, but if you don't put it, you don't use it, you don't fix your ways, you can be very well educated, very smart man, but be poor at managing money. And a lot of successful people know how to be managing money, because you can see someone get rich quick. You can see someone win the lottery, and here they are. Now they have $2 million in their bank accounts, but then 2-3 years later, they're broke again. Reason being, they never grew up, or they never got taught about financial literacy, and that's what I'm hoping to learn and change for myself. And talking about changing, when I talked to him about fear, I think me talking about him with that topic, I think something was clicking inside of me, because I was feeling better, and it's not one of those things where at the moment I was feeling better, but the minute I walk out the door I feel the same. During that moment, and having the talks with my girlfriend and reading that book, I'm starting to see stuff differently, starting to hopefully start changing for much better, because my goal is to be a millionaire by the age of 30. How the hell am I going to achieve that if I have problems like this? I won't be able to achieve nothing if I have a lot of these problems, unless I change them. I change for the better, and that's what I hope to be doing. And when we brought up fear again with him, he kept telling me to have a lot of faith in myself, and just keep having a lot of faith. Reason being, this is his saying. I don't know how many people have heard about this thing, but this is the saying that he told me that he likes to live by. And the saying goes, fear came walking to your door, and fear knocked on the door. Faith opened the door, but no one was home. Or faith answered the door and no one was home. It goes somewhere like that. And at first I was a little bit confused. I'm like, well, what does that mean? I didn't want to ask him there, because I didn't want to feel embarrassed, because I didn't know what he was talking about. And so when I talked about it with my girlfriend, she told me what she thinks that means is when you can feel fear creeping up on you, having faith in yourself makes fear non-existent. Which is true. I know how cringy it sounds. She's probably going to listen to this and say, that's fucking cringy. But it's... the more I think about it, I mean, it's true. I need to have a lot of faith in myself if I want to achieve the things that I want to achieve. If I want to be a realtor, I need to start studying, and actually start studying to know what I'm doing, to then pay the fee to retake the test and pass that test, and not just say, oh, I failed, okay, now I don't have the motivation to do it anymore. No, I got to keep telling myself. That's why I keep going to the meetings, to keep motivating myself, because I don't want to make myself go down. I don't want to be like, okay, well, screw everything, screw everyone. I'm done with this. I failed, so obviously this ain't for me. No. In order for me to fail, in order for me to be successful, I need to fail. And by failing, I need to learn. No matter how many times I fail on that one specific thing, I need to learn. One day I'll learn from it. And that's why one of the things I like to go by off of is a thing called, well, I guess it's a saying of, If you didn't get it right the first time, do it again until it's right. And that's what I hope to achieve too. If I didn't pass the test the first time, do it again until I get it right. If I pass the test, perfect. Be a realtor with Nebraska Realty. Be in the offices longer. Get to know the people there. Get to know real estate. Get to possibly even have some of them as guests on the podcast. And I need to be focusing on. I need to learn from that. I need to be doing that. And that type of stuff sticks on me. And seeing current situations, I'm like, I need to do that. I just need to, because if I want to be spoiling my girlfriend, if I want to be spoiling my parents, if I want to have my big boy toys and also my assets of real estate, investments, all that fun stuff, crypto, I'm going to have to change something, and I need to do that. And I don't want to see my girlfriend struggling anymore, crying and everything. I want to change that. I want to be seeing her happy, making her happy. I already make her happy a lot, but when it comes to fear and everything like that, I wanna make her happy on that. And because I wanna be taking her to all these nice fancy places. I mean, baby girl, I know you listen to this, so I love you. Mwah. People here at Panera looking at me weird. I'm sorry, guys. But that's what he talked to me about, and I was actually having a great conversation. I've had conversations with others. I have had a great conversation with others, but talking with him, I think I just needed that. And again, I want to talk to a managing broker and just get her take on it. Because I'm tired of living through these struggles. I'm always gonna have struggles. Everyone has their own struggles. But I know another thing that Ed Nix did say was, for like problems, it's because no matter how much money you have, how much money you get, new problems will occur. And that's also what talked about in the book of Rich Dad Poor Dad. Because in the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, which talking about that with the more money you have, the more problems, and that's where fear and greed come into where you're scared to lose that money, so you want to come making more. However, one thing that also he talked about, which stuck with me, was there's a difference between how much money you have made and how much money you have kept. Because you could have made $50,000 in one day, but at the end of the year, your bank account, you only have $6,000, and that's it. When you should have at least had maybe at least half, if not more than that. But then, you can be telling people, I made $50,000. But your account only has $6,000 or even $5,000 at the end of the year, and so it's like, I know I've seen that before, but seeing it again where you can say, I made $1,200 off this check. Cool, that's how much you made, but after expenses, that's how much you have kept. And let's say how your expenses go and everything else, the final thing that you keep could be like $200-$300, and you look back, you're like, wow, that's kind of bad. It's a lot of things that also here is living below your needs. No matter how much money you have, you could be making $50,000 a month, and you could be having your new vehicle, whatever. Nothing bad on that. But if you make $50,000 in 1 month, and by the end of that month, let's say like that wire transfer hits the 1st of September, So now you made 50,000 in the month, but by the end of the month, you're ending up with below even 10,000, below even 5,000. That's a huge problem, because now that comes into the thing of how much you made and how much you kept. And yes, you made that much, but look how much you ended up with, and that's not good. If you were living below your needs, obviously you pay all your bills, you pay any debt that you need to pay, and let's say after doing all that, you're ended up with at least 40K, 30K. Invest a good chunk of it. They say invest at least 30%, but if you can, invest even like 70%. And because if you can live off 5,000 in a month and have the rest invested, maybe have some of that money put into savings and then the rest invested and then in checking, it's like you're good. Like you're able to live off much better doing that than just trying to live in luxury because of how much you made. I'm sorry if you're hearing a lot of screaming. Just a lot of people talking right now. But yeah, that's kind of a lot of things that Ed Nix was talking about. What the book was talking about. I know it's unfortunately, promise that there would have been an episode, but there isn't, which is sad. An episode with him, but nothing else that I can really do other than just keep creating episodes for you guys. Because I'm not stopping. Because I won't ever be stopping that. Because I do not plan on stopping. I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna be confident in myself, and have faith in myself, and believe in myself. Of obviously being consistent with the podcast, studying for the real estate. After I get done working, study for the real estate exams, and do everything, pass the real estate exam, and then be a realtor, and then work harder than anyone fucking else there. And I know on the book it'll talk about how working hard can pay. How a lot of people will try to use that of working hard can pay off, but that's for if you're living on a salary. If you're working your job, living on a salary, do that. But it's different if you're staying in a company, or being, I guess, a realtor. You kind of branding your own self, branding your own company. That's different, because with that, if you can work harder than everyone else in that office, no matter my age, for being 21, if I can be working harder than the others, that'll show. But then working hard in the real estate business will make me want to work harder in the podcasting business too. And also working harder in both areas will make me want to finally start changing myself. Well, not just that. Like, that will be me finally changing, but seeing the change in myself, being more confident, stop living in fear. Like, just go kick fear in the balls. Like, fucking grab it and rip that shit off his fucking sack. Like fuck fear. Fear is good when, obviously, I'm not saying that fear is always bad. Fear is good when you need to get pushed by stuff. But let faith win, though. You can have the fear of, one day I'll be broke, so let me make all this money, but then be at a certain point where you're good. So then that fear doesn't help you. That fear isn't haunting you as bad anymore because of faith. And he talked about God a lot, and he talked to me about the Bible, but he was really trying to teach me how to become a great leader, especially since I want to be a great leader for everyone that looks up to me, especially like for my sister and my girlfriend, people that look up to me. I want them to see how great of a leader I am. And if people that don't look up to me, they underestimate, like how Lil Wayne said, and God did. If they underestimate me, they'll underestimate me before they overestimate me, and I hope for that to happen. But I do have to be heading out. It's starting to get quiet here, so everyone can start hearing me, which is a little bit weird because it's a little bit uncomfortable. But hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you made it this far, thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.